prior to after, obviously. But now that I understand how difficult he is to deal with, there's no one else like him. You can't prepare for him, even at
his age,
even at an elder version of him.
And shit, it was pretty cool to see. And honestly, even with the majority draw, it's a win for Manny, because damn, if he can do that off a 3-year layoff at 46, that's pretty telling for one, where the sport of boxing is when your world champ can't beat 46-year-old politician Manny Pacquiao.
Yes, Manny, you can't come out of retirement because this guy is so bad. Like, that fired him up a little bit, and then he goes in the ring and he does nothing. He goes in the ring and, like, I thought it was an embarrassing performance from a 30-year-old champion.
Many fighters are truly intimidated by Manny Pacquiao's return, as even at 46, he still moves like he's in his prime. Sean Porter observed Pacquiao's training and his showing against Barrios, and he firmly stated that Pacquiao is still the real deal. Despite his age, Manny's quickness, agility, and relentless energy are as sharp as ever. Rivals are worried that the iconic version of Pacquiao hasn't diminished and that he still has what it takes to overpower elite-level fighters today.
What do you think about the overall matchup? Everything, man. I watched him train like last week or the week before, and amazing to see him still move and bounce and do all the same things that he was doing in camp years ago when I was with him. So he's still locked in. He's still him, Crazy, but he is. You know what they say, man. The last thing to go is that power.
Chris Algieri, who once faced Pacquiao when both were at their peak, brings a unique and respected viewpoint. He believes there's something remarkable about Manny that defies the effects of time. While most fighters decline as they get older, Pacquiao continues to present challenges that even younger and more conditioned opponents can't figure out. Algieri calls him one of the most difficult fighters to prepare for: unpredictable, lightning fast, explosive, and relentless. He stresses that age doesn't matter when it comes to Manny's abilities, as Pacquiao has a physical and mental edge that no training camp can duplicate or plan for. To Algieri, Pacquiao's return to the ring isn't just realistic, it's a serious threat to anyone who faces him.
Prior to after, obviously, but now that I understand how difficult he is to deal with, there's no one else like him. You can't prepare for him, even at
his age,
even at an elder version of him.
In his bout against Mario Barrios, Pacquiao stunned viewers with how much of his signature style remained untouched. At 46, many expected to see a fading legend attempting to relive past glory. Instead, fans witnessed sharp footwork, quick combinations, and smart angles, everything that once made Pacquiao a feared competitor. What truly stood out was how close the rounds were. Even the ones he didn't win on the scorecards were hard-fought and competitive. His timing, control of the ring, and endurance were all remarkably strong. Although Barrios was expected to take over due to his youth, he often found himself reacting instead of dictating the fight. It was evident that Pacquiao wasn't just showing up, he was still performing at an elite level.
I think Manny's always been good at that. And my son really pointed it out perfectly. He was still good at it. He was still good at it. I think he was stealing some rounds at the end. Whether he deserved them or he didn't deserve them, whatever. They were close rounds. He might have stole them on the judges' cards. What we shouldn't forget is he's a special guy, and he put a special performance. I never saw calves on the legs of somebody that big. I mean, it's incredible. I thought early on he stumbled a little bit. I thought his legs were stumbling a little bit, like you might see in a 46-year-old. A little bit. But at the end, they got the act together. He used them pretty good. He used them pretty damn good. What I think he also did was maybe a little bit of, I think the word illusion is too powerful, but I'd say a little misleading, where he threw those real fast punches like my son said. They weren't quality punches like they used to be, where there was real impact and real power at the end of them. They were more like just quick punches. And they weren't all being impactful. They weren't all landing clean. Some did, but they weren't all landing clean. And they definitely weren't landing with real power.
Social media personality and fighter Salt Papi weighed in with a bold opinion on a possible rematch between Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. He believes Pacquiao's current condition proves he's still active, well-trained, and mentally sharp. In contrast, Mayweather has spent years away from true competition. According to Salt Papi, if the two legends were to face off again, the result would be vastly different from their 2015 fight. This time around, Pacquiao's rhythm, work rate, and determination would outweigh Mayweather's aging reflexes. While Mayweather has preserved his perfect record through exhibitions, Salt Papi argues that Pacquiao's genuine return to top form makes him the more dangerous fighter today.
Have you spoken to Manny recently? I know you're friends with him.
No, I haven't spoken to him, no.
What would you want to see him do next?
Fight Floyd Mayweather or Gervonta Tank.
You think he beats Tank, near prime Tank Davis?
We'll see. Styles make fights, so we just don't know.
What about Mayweather versus Pacquiao too?
Yeah, that'll be a good fight. Yeah, Manny is still active. So.
Okay.
Pacquiao's performance against Barrios served as a powerful reminder of why he's considered a once-in-a-generation talent. Every time Barrios tried to initiate, Manny fired back with 2 or 3 rapid-fire punches. His pace, energy, and footwork were a sharp contrast to Barrios' more hesitant and reactionary approach. What truly stood out to both fans and analysts was how young Pacquiao's movement still looked. His legs never stopped, constantly cutting angles and creating openings. Many questioned the official decision, noting that Manny's aggression and high-volume output clearly outshined Barrios' limited counters. It wasn't just that Pacquiao looked impressive for his age, he looked like he still belonged at the top of the sport.
That's not what happened. Barrios was so tentative in this fight. He was essentially standing there for some of the exchanges. Manny Pacquiao came out and did what Manny Pacquiao does. By the way, credit to Manny. At 46, he still had some feet. He was moving, dancing on Mario Barrios. He was throwing combination punches going forward on Mario Barrios. And when he wasn't doing that, he was countering Mario Barrios, who looked like a stick in the mud. He looked like he couldn't even get out of first gear because Manny was hitting with combinations. Were they hurting super bad? Maybe not. Some of them definitely were. Had a mouse under the eye of Mario Barrios, but others were just flurries, and they were keeping Barrios at bay. And when Barrios was throwing 1, Pacquiao was throwing 3. When Barrios would throw out his jab, Manny would counter with his lead right hand, stepping on the inside plane, doing all the old Manny shit. It was pretty cool to see. And honestly, even with the majority draw, it's a win for Manny because, damn, if he can do that off a 3-year layoff at 46, that's pretty telling for one, where the sport of boxing is when your world champ can't beat 46-year-old politician Manny Pacquiao. But 2, just how great he was. 8-division world champion, started his career at 106, I think, comes up to 147. What are we talking?
Skeptics have raised doubts about Manny Pacquiao's reasons for making a comeback, suggesting that financial motivation may be the primary factor. Considering his legendary career and accomplishments, there's nothing left for him to prove. As an 8-division world champion and global icon already cemented in the Hall of Fame, Manny could easily enjoy retirement without question. However, his decision to return has sparked debate. Critics argue that, at his age, the risks far outweigh the benefits, especially given the increasing physical demands of the sport. They claim that pride or legacy alone may not be enough reason to step back into the ring, unless a major payday is on the table.
Manny Pacquiao crazy for coming back and fighting is because they don't understand what's going on in Manny Pacquiao's life. When a fighter is 46 years old, he doesn't just come back to fight a top fighter because he just wants to fight a top fighter. When he's going through that, that's what's brought him to that place in the first place. And that is having what we call bandwidth extension. He's totally scattered his brain and lost so much money over the course of time. And the same thing that happens when you get a paycheck and you start spending, and because you get shiny object syndrome, you want to get the new watch, you want to get the new gear, you want to eat at the restaurant, you want to go spend money. That's shiny object syndrome. And you can't get it under control the same way that Manny Pacquiao did. He couldn't get things under control. So therein lies the situation where all of that money that he's made, hundreds of millions of dollars, just burnt. And now you got to fight. But if you really stop focusing on the symptom and start concentrating on the root of this thing, and the root of this thing is bandwidth, shiny object syndrome, trying to be so relevant in so many different scenarios. You want to train. You want to run this other business. You want to do this. You got this great idea. And it all boils down to the term that I use all the time, and that's compensatory control, laser focus. Get one idea, follow through with that idea. You got to have a plan in order to do it. And that's how you get to from here to here. That's when you're 46, you don't have to fight anymore. And that is my message today. Just understand why you're scattered. Understand why you can't get anything going all the way through. You can never finish that thought process and execute the plan. And therefore, you continue to find yourself in a situation where you're desperate. You're trying to find a way to get back to where you were, which is even. But if you stay locked in and concentrate on the compensatory control factor of your life, which is doing everything that you think of every single day the exact same way, and I take 1 minute and go to that playlist.
However, Pacquiao has consistently denied that money is the reason behind his return. Throughout the years, he's built a strong reputation not just as a fighter but also as a generous humanitarian. From funding hospitals to aiding disaster relief efforts in the Philippines, Manny has always been open-handed with his wealth. He frequently tells the media that he fights for his people, not for financial gain. According to him, this comeback is driven by passion, legacy, and the desire to inspire. Pacquiao wants to prove that age is only a number when the heart and will remain strong. For him, it's about showing both himself and the world that greatness doesn't have an expiration date. With the Barrios fight now in the rearview, attention has shifted to speculation over who Pacquiao will face next, dominating the boxing conversation.
I became a world champion and I realized that this is the time that I can help my family. Before that, we don't have food to eat in one day. We just drink a lot of water to survive. And I remember one time, my young brother is 5 years old back then, and he was crying like in the afternoon, 1:30 in the afternoon. He's crying because he's hungry. He's asking for food. We don't eat breakfast. We don't eat lunch. He don't understand what is. When you're telling him no money, we have no money to buy food, and he's crying like, "Mom, I'm hungry." Like he's crying, and I look to my mom and look at his eyes, and it's the tear flow in his eyes, and then I feel so sad, and like, and of course I'm crying also because hungry. We drink water just to survive. That's our past, so that's why I always told him that, Manny Pacquiao is Manny Pacquiao, but I don't have the right to become arrogant, to become boastful. I want to stay humble because we've been there. We came from nothing.
Rolly Romero has quickly become a leading contender, especially after training footage surfaced indicating he's already gearing up for the potential bout. His team has expressed strong interest in the matchup, and Romero himself has said he'd be honored to step into the ring with a legend like Manny Pacquiao. At the same time, names like Gervonta Davis have also been mentioned, though that fight remains uncertain due to promotional hurdles and scheduling issues.
No. Tira los golpes largos, ¿me? Porque si da paso ya te pega mucho. No, quédate atrás, ¿me? No te cuidas. Ahí, quédate ahí parado, ahí donde tú estabas.
Boxing Doctor News, Manny Pacquiao's next potential opponent is Rolly Romero, the WBA welterweight champ. Romero is under the same promotion, has the belt, and can sell a fight. He's eager to face Pacquiao, saying, "A Hall of Famer on my resume. Who wouldn't want that?" After Pacquiao's draw with Barrios, his advisor sees Romero as the favorite for Manny's next bout. Romero has knockout power and isn't afraid to bring the heat. Is this the explosive matchup fans have been waiting for?
Some fans still call for a rematch between Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao, holding on to the belief that Floyd would come out on top again. What many fail to consider is that Mayweather is not only older than Pacquiao but also significantly less active. He hasn't faced a serious challenger in years, instead opting for low-risk, high-reward exhibition bouts. Taking on a revitalized Pacquiao now would be a completely different scenario than their 2015 clash. Back then, Floyd faced a version of Manny who was recovering from a shoulder injury and wasn't in peak rhythm. This time, he'd be up against a Pacquiao with speed, focus, and absolutely nothing to lose, a fight Mayweather would likely prefer to avoid.
And we will see what transpires, but all these people out here saying that the fight was fixed, a lot of these people were not fans of Manny Pacquiao. When that whole Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao situation was going on with the steroids allegation, the needles, and the back and forth between the Pactars, as they called them back in the day, and the Mayweather fans. A lot of those fans still hold grudges towards Manny Pacquiao. I guarantee if that was Mayweather that was fighting Mario Barrios coming into that fight after a long layoff, all the people would have said Mayweather had a chance, Mayweather gonna win, become champion once again. Mayweather levels above Mario Barrios, even at that age. And Mayweather's actually older than Pacquiao. But those same people wasn't giving Pacquiao no chance to defeat an average fighter in Mario Barrios. And that's what I base my pick on, that Mario Barrios is average. Some people that's Tank Davis fans, you know, they want to blow up Mario Barrios into something that he really ain't. Because really before the Tank fight, we talking about Mario Barrios right now. Before the Tank fight, he took on a guy by the name of Ahmad Daliev. He lost that fight. And he took a beating from that fight. And Mario Barrios really ain't never been the same from that fight. Go back and watch that fight. That was the fight before the Tank fight. Now, a lot of people say, well, he was looking good in the Tank fight. He was winning early in the Tank fight. That was the fact of Tank going up in weight, fighting a much bigger guy on fight night. Look at the difference in size. Not only we ain't just looking at the height, but he was just a much bigger guy.
Respected boxing analysts have reinforced the view that Pacquiao did more than enough to earn the victory. Throughout the fight with Barrios, he was the consistent aggressor, setting the pace and driving the action. In contrast, Barrios seemed passive for large stretches, often moving around the ring or remaining stationary without delivering meaningful offense. Experts who reviewed the bout closely, frame by frame, highlighted several rounds that appeared to be wrongly awarded to Barrios despite his limited output. Pacquiao's command of the ring, high punch volume, and control of the fight's rhythm told a different story than what the official scorecards reflected. In their eyes, Manny's comeback wasn't just impressive, it may very well have been a rightful win.
The draw?
No.
Because,
weird rounds, hard to score.
Yeah, Pacquiao did better than I thought he did. And that's we get into that weird territory in boxing where you start grading on a curve. That's not how boxing works. And I was like, oh, Pacquiao's doing better. He's probably winning. Oh, he won. But no, he probably didn't. And a draw he's probably lucky to get a draw.
Yeah, as I was watching it and scoring it, and I was in the live chat with people, and there was just so many rabid Pacquiao fans that were like, every time he did anything, first of all, anytime he did anything in the arena, the place went absolutely bonkers. Like it was going to tear down. Honestly, he probably fought 50 to 60 seconds around. He did not do much. He didn't need to because Barrios didn't step on the gas pedal at all at any point. He was so listless and just kind of like ho-humming through it. So Pacquiao was able to steal moments, and he did a really good job of stealing the end of rounds and making an exclamation point. And also, we saw flashes of the Manny of old when he would have that little like the flourishing signature in the end of something. He'd make that little movement, bang, he'd pop that left hand, he'd fly out, boom, 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 boom. He'd make those little moves, he'd do the fancy feet, and you would be like, oh, but really nothing happened. He didn't land a lot of punches. Like, it wasn't like anything really effective. But it got everybody emotional, it got everybody, and whereas Barrios was the exact opposite. Everything he did was so workmanlike. He has zero charisma. He has no sell on anything he does. He just lacked passion. I know he has Tech Warrior, but where was the passion? Where was the exchanging? Where was the biting down on my mouthpiece and going for it? So there was a lot of opportunities based on how both guys fought for Manny to actually steal rounds because Mario wasn't selling it. Pacquiao was. The crowd was behind him. But yes, when you do it, you're looking at it almost like you're almost comparing Pacquiao to Pacquiao. You're being like, oh, he fought really good for a 46-year-old. He didn't fight really good for a 12-round main event, champion. He fought really good for a 46-year-old Pacquiao. So you get that idea in your head, like, oh man, he's doing so good. But is he really, or are you just voting for the guy that you like better?
Like nostalgia is a hell of a joke, and we were all high on Saturday night.
What stood out to many fans and critics was the unwavering conviction Pacquiao brought into the fight. There was no hesitation or self-doubt, only full confidence in his skills. He moved with purpose, threw punches with precision, and controlled distance like a true veteran. At no moment did he resemble a fighter chasing past glory. Instead, he fought with the drive of someone who still had something to prove. Sadly, that level of performance wasn't fully acknowledged on the scorecards. While he won over the crowd with his heart and skill, the judges didn't reflect that effort in their decision, overlooking what was clearly a competitive and courageous return to the ring.
The most surprising result from last night was 46-year-old Manny Pacquiao going 12 rounds and drawing against the WBC champion. And the craziest part of all of it might be that Manny Pacquiao might have been robbed. I generally think that Manny Pacquiao might have won the fight. He looked great, he looked sharp, especially for being a 46-year-old. And this is why I told you guys that Manny Pacquiao's mentality is different. His passion for boxing is unmatched. This is why he's one of the GOATs. From what we saw, we can see that he really put in a lot of work, because in his last fight, I believe it was 5 years ago, he didn't look good. He looked slow. He looked like a 46-year-old, or a 40-year-old, because he was 40 years old back then. But he didn't look good, but he looked great. I feel if the rematch happens against Mayweather, which would honestly be an amazing fight, because they're both old now, so they don't have any excuse of being like, oh, this guy's past his prime. They're both past their prime. They're both old. But if it happens, I think Manny Pacquiao wins. Floyd Mayweather hasn't fought, and he doesn't have the same amount of passion. He fought Logan Paul and Deji, but this guy fought an actual WBC champion and looked great and could have possibly beat him. He said he's not going to stop boxing, and he honestly has no reason why to stop. Now, obviously, I don't think he's like a top 10 boxer right now, or like currently whatever, but he can hold his own. If he went against someone like Gervonta Davis, yes, he'd get murdered, but there's a lot of fighters that he can go toe-to-toe with right now. I don't know, Fall for Sport content, we're about to hit that.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more updates, and we'll see you next time.